You're listening to CreepGeeks Podcast. So it begins again. Welcome back, CreepGeeks Podcast. I'm Greg.
I'm Omi.
And you're listening to the CreepGeeks Podcast. I've said that 3 times. Maybe it'll do a little muscle memory sink in, if you will.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, here's the deal. We talk about paranormal and weird stuff and broadcast paranormal and weird stuff and share our strange experiences from our underground bunker in the mountains of western North Carolina.
Yeah.
Full of rain and discontent this place has been the past week. It's just wet and bugs are crazy.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about, and every time we find something cool to speak about, we try to put it in our podcast for you. So there's been some weird things going on in the paranormal community. Not necessarily spooky things, but just sort of public-facing, I don't know, what would you call it? Interesting things.
Changes.
There you go.
Updates.
Changes.
Updates.
Yeah, updates I didn't expect.
Yeah.
It's like, what? So, anyway, this is Season 9, Episode 340.
Yeah. Matt Rife, comedian, paranormal investigator. Octopuses have cities. Alien probe arrival date. Biophotons and radioactive wasps.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. All right, so anyway, as we move into the podcast, there's a couple different things that we talk about, and sometimes we run across things that sort of get updated from the previous time that we've talked about them, and we actually have that happening here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we would like to let you know that there is the Western North Carolina Bigfoot Festival.
Yes.
It's happening in Marion, North Carolina, August 22nd.
23rd.
23rd. No, it's not. Is it?
August 23rd, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
All right, well.
Downtown Marion, North Carolina.
You should probably listen to Omi. She's going to be there.
Yes.
With bells on.
I will be inside McDowell Arts Council Association, which is on 50 South Main Street. And me and several other local artists will be selling local Bigfoot art, as well as everything else inside of MACA. So,
yeah, maybe some stickers.
Stickers. There's a couple of some potters that do some really cool Bigfoot pottery. Get yourself like an authentic handmade Bigfoot mug. Or like there's this one lady, she does macrame. She has a huge giant like macrame Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And then I'll have my stuff anywhere from my resin to my jewelry to some cool little Bigfoot gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm going to send her with some CreepGeek swag.
Yeah. So
CreepGeek Podcast swag. Yeah. So you have limited time only. Because I don't know how much we actually have off the top of my head. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, It should be a good time. So previous podcast, 2 podcasts, we actually talked about Annabelle. Right? Annabelle's the alleged haunted doll. Causing problems, right? It's been the movie Conjuring series had Annabelle in it. Mm-hmm. Even though the doll looked way scarier than the Raggedy Ann doll, which is what Annabelle is based off of. And remember we talked about it going on tour and how that was kind of weird because it was sort of attached to Ryan Buell, who has his own paranormal shadiness happening, and then had an unfortunate death.
Yeah.
That people were trying to associate with the Annabelle doll. And the update for that has been that he died of natural causes.
But he was
like youngster, man, Army vet, family of 4, that kind of thing. Dan Rivera.
Rivera.
Yeah, Rivera. It seems pretty, I'm reading his Rivera, but it seems pretty healthy. But it kind of got me thinking, if you... How would a haunted spirit or a ghost take you out, right? I mean, what evidence would that be that there would happen there?
So
you're just guessing, just like the rest of us, because nobody knows for sure.
I was listening to a podcast, and the podcast was talking about how medical examiners determine cause of death, like natural causes versus this or this or this, and the medical examiner gave a really good example of how. They were in Florida, and basically the deceased person that was brought in had shark bite wounds all over him, very significant, right? But when you go to do the cause of death, what it ended up saying on the cause of death was heart attack. Well, the guy panicked when he was being deathly attacked by a shark. So technically, it wasn't the shark that killed him. It was the heart attack and going into cardiac arrest from all the stress and pain of being attacked by a shark. So heart attack goes on that, and technically heart attack was a natural cause, which was like really convoluted for me to hear on this podcast, right? But it gets really crappy like that when it comes to like actual autopsies and stuff like that. And I know there's different arguments out there for that.
I'm sure it probably varies by state.
Yeah.
And all sorts of stuff, but
yeah.
I'm not saying it was, Annabelle doll that caused anything.
Yeah.
Or caused his untimely demise. But my thought is that how would a spirit take you out? And it probably caused you to have a heart attack. Yeah. Scare you to death kind of a thing. Because, it's not like the movies where you get ripped to shreds by this.
Or dragged to hell.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so that's not going to be helpful if that was actually a cause. I was just kind of like, that was just sort of a thought. I personally don't think Annabelle had anything to do with it.
Yeah. I'm
more curious as to what took out this man.
Yeah.
Who, by all means appeared to be healthy and everything. But again, you never know. And it's a thing. Because the older you get, the more health conscious you become. You're like, especially when somebody passes away that's younger than you are, you're like, what? Yeah. That's crazy. What happened?
I thought of another thing that certain paranormal investigators have claimed. A ghost or demon could possess you and cause you to end your own life.
Yeah, but what's that going to show up as on a...
I know, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
So you cross yourself off the list kind of a thing. So I don't know. It just kind of leads toward there'll never be definitive evidence when it comes to anything like this.
Yeah.
Because we're just going to classify it as what we can identify. Because you can't put down, like, deathly possession or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, because if that be the case, then...
Ghostly heart attack.
Yeah. Demon possessed or whatever.
Yeah. Demonic aneurysm.
Yeah, like the guy was bent over sideways in the street, just standing there. He must be possessed by crack or something, right?
It's called the methylene.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So
I seen a TikTok I thought was pretty funny. This guy's like, when you're trying to save a parking spot for your friend in a busy city or something like that. He was standing in the parking spot doing the methylene.
Oh, man.
And everybody, of course, is passing him by. And then when he sees his buddy pull up in the car, he just straightens up and takes off. It's like, that guy, 1,000 points, 5 stars.
Gosh.
It was pretty funny. So speaking of Annabelle and, Ed and Lorraine Warren, who owned Annabelle and all that stuff that's been going on. We have the Ed and Lorraine with their paranormal museum and haunted objects and all that. I seen his TikTok recently, and it came out of nowhere for me. Matt Rife is a young comedian who him and a partner evidently bought Ed and Lorraine Warren's legacy, their house and their museum.
Yeah.
And is all excited by it. So let's kind of play you what he says. If you don't know who Matt Rife is, this is an audio-based podcast, so you kind of got to look it up. You may or may not have seen his swarmy face. I mean, he's a young, cocky guy, and I know a big part of that is his show that he does. Yeah. Some people want to punch him, some people want to kiss him. It's kind of like pick your poison, right? Because you didn't know who he was.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And then I'm like, oh, here you go. And then you like listen to his show for 45 minutes. So I think that's because he's a cute guy, right? He's pretty.
He was hitting
He's hitting on the moms and the daughters.
The mom was the best part, though. He was hitting on the mom.
Well, she's had cookies and stuff. So
yeah, that's
true. Of course, that's exactly what you're going to do. So let's kind of play this so you can hear it in his own words, I guess, and we'll kind of go from there.
Hey guys, super random but incredible announcement. I have just bought the Ed and Lorraine Warren's home and occult museum with my very good friend Elton Castay. If you guys have ever seen any of the Conjuring films, the Annabelle films, or even Amityville Horror, this is the home that inspired all of those stories. This might be the most important and prominent piece of paranormal history in the world. Ed and Lorraine Warren are who took demonology and ghost hunting and paranormal investigation and made it mainstream. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't know what any of this means whatsoever, but if you follow ghost stuff, this is about as big as it gets. So what does this all mean? It means that Elton Castee and myself are the owners of the physical Ed and Lorraine Warren's Home and Occult Museum. We are the legal guardians and caretakers of all 750 haunted artifacts and items in the Warren Museum, including the Annabelle doll. I must go on record and say we do not legally own the items, but we are the legal guardians and caretakers of the items for at least the next 5 years. And what this means for you guys is you are going to soon be able to book a night or a weekend and stay at the Warrens' house and investigate the house and the history of the house, as well as the museum and all the artifacts inside of it. This is the most random.
All right. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
So this is a huge deal. This really is a big deal. And I'm surprised that he picked it up and Zach Bagans didn't pick it up. Or did Zach even want anything to do with it? Because he's been known to collect things. And I think at one time, him and Lorraine Warren were good buddies.
They were.
So
remember, it was a drama between him and
Ed Spira?
Nesper, yeah.
Well, Nesper's the organization. I think Tony Spiro.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it was the drama between those two, which actually happened in 2019-ish, 2020, 2019.
Yeah, when the Annabelle doll was brought to his museum.
Yeah.
And the thing was, you can't take it out of the case. And Zach kept trying to take it out of the case, and it became a thing. But
which was funny because that also ties into, remember Nesper doing those weird, like, have dinner with Annabelle.
Yeah, you could have a spaghetti dinner. You
go
in there, I think it was like pay $80, get a nice spaghetti dinner.
And it was around that time
look at the doll, play with the doll kind of a thing. Get your picture taken.
I think, yeah. And that also coincides with, funny, 2019, 2020, all this stuff coincides. Lorraine passed away 2019 at 92, but also the Occult Museum was closed in 2019 due to zoning issues, air quotes there.
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So, I wonder if it became an official museum, because, I mean, you could be a rich young comedian or just a rich person. Yeah. You're not going to buy or invest in a property where the zoning is in question, because if you do, you inherit the problems. So if it's like, oh yeah, we'll rezone it for $2 million and you buy it, guess who's going to have to pay the $2 million? Not the previous thing. It becomes a thing. So that's why you have to look at things like, if you buy property, you want to make sure that if it's zoned, that you go and you check the laws and see if you can put more than one house and all that stuff. If there's zero
restrictions.
Yeah, restrictions on the property. Do you actually own the minerals underneath? So it's a thing, and I'm sure he's got lawyers because Rife has got some money because he's pretty popular.
And the fact that he co-owns it, though, I got a theory going. The fact that he co-owns it for
for him, I think it's a hobby.
Yeah.
And I think that his buddy is more business-minded and says, this is an opportunity. You just got to kick some money in and we can do it. So
yeah, well,
kind of like the Storm Area 51 fiasco. You got one guy's all excited about it and the other guy's like, I can run the show. And then that person is going to step away and let you fall on your head if you're not careful.
So the fact that him and another guy co-own it, and he said something towards the end, pretty much for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And this whole zoning issue from 2019, I wonder if this house or the house and its contents have been put into a conservancy.
I don't know.
Because a conservancy would be about 3 to 5 years.
Or maybe it's just a point on the contract.
Possibly. So,
because you can own the property and everything in it can belong to somebody else, especially if it's a museum.
Yeah.
So who's not letting go, or they're like, hey, look, we'll sell you the house, and you can kind of control what's going on and keep it a museum. But if you want anything in the house, you're going to have to pay. That could be a separate transaction kind of a thing.
Yeah. Conservancy also might give it a chance to get turned into like an official, like historic whatever, or museum or things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's kind of hard to say, but it is kind of exciting. I mean, if you wanted to, you could, according to what Matt's saying, go take a tour.
Yeah.
Do an investigation kind of a thing. I wonder how much that would cost. I'm sure we'll find out pretty soon.
I know.
But from what I gather with Matt Rife and his little TikTok, granted it's only a minute long or whatever it was, I did cut it off because he drops an F-bomb in the middle of it, or towards the end. If he's got the new exuberance towards checking out paranormal stuff and all. Yeah, this is cool. He hasn't been in it long enough to see where things can just really start to go wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what happens. That's kind of the way it is, the paranormal. So just in general, if everything from ghost hunting, it eventually starts to go south and you start to meet the weirdos that are more weird than you.
Yeah.
And he might find that if they're looking at renting space and time to go and to have people come into investigations, that might taper off. So if you're the one part of this business or business transaction partnership and you're like, yeah, it's going to make tons of money, let's all look at the Conjuring house and see how that's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's kind of we'll kind of see what happens. Like, I mean, I'm going to watch it like a vulture on a fence, just waiting to see. Because you never know, right? Because that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
All these haunted objects in there, the whole thing. He's going to take over. He doesn't. Maybe he doesn't realize that. Hey, sometimes you inherit what's going on. You hear it all the time. We bought a house and we did some renovations and now it's haunted. You're like, no. According to the paperwork you signed, it was haunted before. Now you're stirring things up, right, and having all these experiences. So what happens with new ownership? What if they decide to do that? Maybe have the carpets cleaned and all that stuff, because whatever, right? And maybe just activate all this. And then what's he going to do? Do TikToks? Hey, guys, it's getting pretty scary here. Because I keep thinking back to Post Malone.
Oh, yeah.
Was super excited in the paranormal, right? Went out there with Zach Bagans and did some stuff, and then all of a sudden he's not into it anymore, wants no part of it because of the whole Dybbuk box thing.
Yeah. So.
And, as far as I know, Post Malone, he's probably not as heavily invested in this sort of thing like Matt's in it, evidently. Yeah. So we'll see what happens if he decides to stay in it or if he's just like, all right, I'm out. This is pretty scary. Because a lot of people are really interested in this kind of thing, going doing ghost hunting and all that stuff. And then sometimes, when some scary shit happens and you're kind of confronted with it, you're like, you know what? This ain't as cool as I thought. There might be a little something to this.
Yeah.
Just because you go home, you do an investigation and go home, and all of a sudden all this stuff keeps getting knocked off your walls. You're like, wait a minute, maybe I brought something home. Like, how open is this kid's eyes to this stuff?
You can't really see too much on his social media to gauge how invested he is. So
he's invested enough. But, how much does he actually know? We don't know. I mean, maybe he's got a whole history behind it, and this has been a dream of his. So maybe he's fully aware of what he's getting into. I kind of don't think so.
Yeah.
Because he would be like, I've been doing this for a while, because everybody's got to throw out their cred.
Yeah.
I've been a paranormal investigator for 30 years, kind of a thing, right? He didn't say none of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We meet him all the time. I'm an expert. Oh, you are? Are you a self-declared expert, or are you recognized by other people as being an expert? That goes a long way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But, yeah. Speaking of, I don't know. You got anything else you want to say about that?
No, I do eagerly await when they open it back up again. I want to see what the prices are, what the initial reaction is, and then the whole... We've had this long-standing conversation this year in podcasting about the slight decline and lack of interest in paranormal. I want to see what the reception will be,
Yeah.
So, and especially in this economy, can we afford ghosts, I mean, people
I don't know, man. Hamburger meat's kind of pricey depending on where you shop. Who knows how much?
People aren't necessarily traveling out to... I remember we went to a paranormal convention in Kentucky, and I went to one table where this dude was just trying to talk up me going and doing a paranormal, just on the whim, a paranormal investigation in a haunted house in New Hampshire. And I'm like, who just up and says yes and hands this guy $300 or $500?
Well, he bought the house.
I know, but...
You're not going to say it's CryptidCon, because that's where it was. I'll say it.
Yeah.
So.
But that's the thing. It's like... in this economy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the economy's getting better, but it seems like a lot of people were like, now they're like, hey, let me hold on to some of my ducats.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So after finding, Matt Rife's thing, which is a recent thing, so I added it to the podcast, I came across this, and I thought it was funny. And everything we talk about in CreepGeeks Podcast is available on our website, CreepGeeks.com, so you can click the links and follow along for yourself. So, couple buys haunted house and experiences haunted things. So I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
It says it's haunted. They made you sign a paper, piece of paper and all that stuff saying it was haunted. Now you're experiencing weird things.
Yeah.
So I just had to kind of put that in there, and we'll talk a little bit about it right quick.
Oh, what a lovely picture of this new couple in front of their new
Look
house.
how enthusiastic they are with their good British teeth, and they're like, hey, man. And so this is a couple buys one of UK's most haunted houses and can't explain the odd experiences. UK's been around for a long time, much longer than the US, so there's a whole lot of haunted houses in the UK. And I've seen this haunted house in some of the shows that I've seen. You see the house mentioned and talked about, and then you see it in 8 different shows because all the shows are the same, right? Just different spin on them. So this, one of Britain's most haunted houses, was once a prison for witches, and the new owners are already experiencing the paranormal. So Amy Wang and Gerard Cutting, 35 and 37, bought the property after learning it was for sale from a friend. They already know this. They have a friend who owns this place. So you think the friend would not say anything? I'm just trying to get an idea. Did they go into this,
No, because it says the pair run a social media site called Amy's Crypt, investigating ghosts and other hauntings. So, I mean...
Interesting. So they should know. Well, they're originally from Adelaide, Australia. And they traveled the world investigating hauntings for years. So when their friend told them that it was available, they bought it, right?
Yeah.
So why is this news?
I don't know.
Interesting, right?
Since purchasing it, the owners have reported seeing a ghostly apparition, someone even being pushed by ghostly figures. The new owners have already had strange experiences, saying, we haven't owned the property for long, but have already had a number of experiences we aren't able to explain. Mostly things like sounds or smells, but we've also had objects move on our own. We just recently hooked up some surveillance cameras around the house, so we're crossing our fingers that we'll be able to experience more and even capture it on film.
Maybe they'll get to see Ursula Kemp.
Yeah, the witch.
Was accused of witchcraft.
Yeah.
Right? And, she was a local midwife and healer.
Yeah.
But after a feud with the local family, was accused of witchcraft and condemned to death. So, that's back when customer service, you know what I'm saying? You're providing a service and somebody doesn't like it, and all of a sudden, witch!
Yeah.
But she was one of 13 women at the time to be charged with the crime, all of whom were held in the village lockup. And 3 of the women were held there, including Ursula, and they were hanged for their crimes. This was like in 1583. So since then, the owners of the historic property have reported seeing ghostly apparitions. So we'll see how they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the headline, I'm like, and water is wet. And
yeah. I like how she was like, right now, our main focus is just preserving the building.
Okay.
It's fallen into a bit of disrepair from being empty for so long. So after that, they hope to make it a comfortable place where we can investigate, conduct experiments, and maybe one day share with others on the paranormal. So is this just an investment property from them? Yeah, so the property came to them in passing when talking about it with some friends who had visited the cage many years prior.
Okay.
That's what they call the house because it used to be a prison, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're like, did you know that the house is currently for sale? And they're like, what? And so they bought it.
Okay.
And so they're going to fix it up and I guess maybe rent it out. Do the same thing, a little investment property. Because that's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
I like the paranormal. So, of course, everybody's going to want to come see it. You don't realize how small this whole paranormal thing is and how people are actively involved in it until you try to do something like, I think I could survive making some money off of this. Or, hey, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. Not as many people as I thought is interested in this as I am.
Yeah.
But, that's kind of how all things go. But like, wait, I'll take my midlife crisis jewelry I've been making for a while and I'll sell it and I'll be good to go. And then shocked when there's like a million other women that are doing the same thing. And that wasn't directed to you. That's a thing. And if you think about it, everybody knows somebody. And it's like, I'm going to do some jewelry. And it's going to be great. I'm going to sell it and people are going to love it.
Okay.
And then you're like a year later, how'd that jewelry go? Well, I still have a bunch of supplies. Do you want it? Yeah.
So
But it's funny. I seen that in a TikTok video where somebody was ranting.
Just put a bird on it.
Put a bird on it. Yeah. We can pickle that. We can pickle that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to see what happens with these people.
Yeah.
So, but I do feel slightly duped by the headline though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there is a huge alien probe that's going to kill us. It's like 12 miles wide and all this other crazy stuff. And I thought they show a picture, and I swear the picture's the same picture of Umamu. Mm-hmm. And they're like, this is coming, and it's going to happen, and all this other stuff. And it's like, okay. And then they couldn't quite figure out the date of when this, for lack of a better word, alien probe is set to arrive at Earth.
See,
and it's a chilling warning, right? So, of course, I'm going to click on it.
Yeah.
Well, when is it showing up?
Between November something, 21st and December 5th, 2025.
Yeah, before they didn't know for sure. But it's like a Harvard scientist has issued a chilling warning about a mysterious interstellar object hurtling through our solar system and says it could spell disaster for Earth. I'm like, what? Now, this is the same professor, Avi Loeb, who basically was out there pushing his opinions on stuff, his bold and polarizing theories about extraterrestrial life. And he was also the one that's been tracking the object that's called 31 Atlas since it was first spotted July 1st.
Yeah.
If the object is an alien craft, Loeb warned it could be carrying a probe or even a weapon. And basically that it's going to intercept. And so they calculated the timeline, and they figure out it's going to pass between the sun and Earth's perspective this October. And he's calling it like a mothership. And he explained a couple different things, but he's like, its position would be an efficient way to sort of take a look at Earth and see if it's habitable and send some probes our way. But there's been some weird things that this thing has done, like speed up, change direction slightly, things like that. And there was a percentage that was put on it where he says, like, this is 90%. Okay. He says the 31 Atlas may be an alien probe, citing its unusual rare trajectory, which just happens to so closely align to the orbital plane of the inner planets, including Earth, and he puts the odds of it happening naturally at 0.2%.
That's still kind of high.
No, I mean, that's
Okay.
the odds of it happening naturally
Oh.
are 99.8% unlikely.
Okay. Sorry.
Like, it's just not a natural thing because of everything from, the gravitational pull of planets and all that stuff. So he's saying, this is unnatural. And at its closest point to the sun on October 29th, he fears an alien invasion could send stock markets crashing and citizens would lose their trust in governments protecting them. And he said, it could be maybe possibly a military ambush, all sorts of stuff, right? And, the object's like 12 miles wide, which is unusually large for something that's coming through space. And he says, if it were natural, we would have already spotted millions of similar objects, but we haven't. And I did see a thing where Jeremy Corbell,
Of course.
like 6 months ago, came out and said, you're going to hear about a huge mothership interstellar object coming from around the sun, and it's all part of the lies. And of course, everybody jumped into Project Blue Book, or not Blue Book, Blue Beam, and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so Loeb has published 3 preprint papers laying the case that suggested to NASA that even an attempt at interception with its Juno spacecraft, when the object passes close to Jupiter, would be something that should be done.
Yeah.
So he says, in my view, we need a risk scale for interstellar objects. 0 would be a natural comet, and 10 would be a verified technological object possibly powered by an engine or emitting artificial light. And he also believes that the government should be forming task forces with scientists, policymakers, and psychologists to determine and how to respond to break the news to the public without freaking them out. So he's coming up with sort of first, I don't want to say contact, but just a warning system. And
see, my thing is every time I tried to hear something about this, it was scrolling through a news feed, and by the time I got to click on it, news feed refreshed, and everything kept changing so quickly. I mean, earlier this week, I heard there was 3 city killer asteroids heading our way.
Yeah.
And then it got down to 2. Well, now now they're saying this asteroid isn't going to hit Earth. It's actually possibly going to maybe hit the moon, and that's going to have some significant consequences as well.
That's a different object.
Oh, that's a different one?
Yeah.
So there are multiple objects coming straight for us.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. This one's huge. The huge one is basically going to pass between, it's going to come around the sun, I guess.
Yeah.
And pass between the sun. It's going to pass in our orbit, Earth. Before, they were saying it's possibly going to pass on the outside of Mars.
Yeah.
Which is further away. And I guess it's going to pass between Mars and us.
Okay.
Which we're still talking about a lot of distance here.
Yeah.
And then, some projections would say that, the way the Earth orbits the moon, it'll be way out of the way of this thing whizzing by, but it would be close enough for if this was a probe or something to be able to get information from our planet. Which I'm thinking, our planet is noisy enough. There's enough radio waves blasting out into space that it would be completely obvious that there's something out there.
Yeah.
Not like the weird stuff you hear, but like, Mariah Carey doing her Christmas song or whatever is coming through space.
Yeah.
So
there's all these, I don't know. It's getting hard for me to keep track now. So
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of space objects are being really hard to keep track and to track.
Yeah.
And amongst them are all the man-made objects that we have. That's part of the reason why Space Force was created, to keep an eye on stuff that's up there. So, and the X-37B, weird, super quiet, don't know what it's really doing. Looks like a tiny space shuttle thing that's up there. Maybe they can send that thing out there with some photon torpedoes or something to maybe blast this thing off course if it gets too close. So, maybe all these objects and stuff that we're hearing about keep coming and going, it seems, or what's been spurring a lot of these billionaires for building underground cities and bunkers and stuff. Maybe they know some stuff that we don't, but they got the money to survive, and we're all just going to not.
Huh.
Kind of scary, right?
I
got enough stuff to worry about. I like when he says, this asteroid's going to smash the planet and kill everything. And you're like, oh no. And you're like, it's like 80,000 years from now. And you're like, look, man, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah.
But 80,000 years, I won't even be dust. I'll be less than dust by then. So, yep. So if the alien probe thing wasn't scary enough, then there's another article, and this is from the Daily Mail that talks about this NASA engineer who basically says there's trillions of shape-shifting cloaked devices that are hidden across Earth.
Okay.
So maybe this probe is coming back to pick them up.
Okay.
What do you think about that? It's going to whiz by, and this weird electromagnetic wave's going to happen. It's going to pull them off the planet, and they're going to, take that information together and do something with it. So, Richard Bondarock, who's the CEO of Field Propulsion Technologies and was also a former propulsional engineer for NASA and Lockheed Martin, basically said, and this is, during an interview that was done, or an episode that was done December 2024, he described a covert effort by the U.S. government and private research groups to study advanced materials allegedly recovered from unidentified flying objects.
Oh.
He claimed that many of these mysterious objects were not simply crash debris, but part of what he suspects is a vast invisible sensor network scattered around the world.
Oh.
And he didn't know who placed the devices. And he says they're unlike anything, ever seen. And it's not just decades ahead of current technology, but hundreds of years beyond it.
Okay.
And he described one device as a sliver of metal that could reconfigure and camouflage itself depending on its surroundings. It would cloak itself and try to blend into the environment. And that's how they could tell it was extraterrestrial. So his comments have reignited online speculation about UFO disclosure and saying that it really happened. So evidently, now we got that to worry about. So as for some reason why an advanced group would be scattering tiny objects as part of a global monitoring system, he claimed that extraterrestrials could be just basically trying to influence humanity.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have all sorts of functions. So I'm not sure.
That seems very expansive.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know.
He also added that it's still possible to acquire these cloaked devices that are scattered around the world. But his access to those things had been cut off by groups he was working with after he chose to go public.
Okay.
So he's like, I was in it, go get them, but since I threw it out there and made it public, now I've been cut off. Yeah, he had been originally recruited by the U.S. Department of Defense and Air Force to work on classified projects aimed at analyzing systems from crashed UFOs. And he noted that these technologies weren't being used by the U.S. government, but instead was a non-governmental organization, NGOs, that were studying most of the stuff. So some of the work I was doing with the NGOs is really exciting, but one of the other things that comes out of this is that these individuals, or whoever this group is that has this advanced technology probably doesn't want us reverse engineering what they're already working on.
Okay.
So, yeah, they were smart materials. You'd be looking at them, trying to reverse engineer them. They turn to dust. Then they would do it again within a minute or two. So you could take the dust, send it off, and get some isotopic analysis done to it. Turned out they were extraterrestrial. So you just listed off a bunch of different things. Along with being able to self-destruct, scientists examining these materials found that they could also bend light around them. So it would basically project the image of whatever was behind this extraterrestrial material to the front. So that's how it would cloak itself. So potentially trillions of the smaller objects seeded throughout the world, it could be using this cloaking technology as well. And he's like, he also revealed that the U.S. was aware of the giant triangle-shaped craft that's been, the big triangles that people see, black triangles. Yeah. And he was aware that, that they've been aware for years. And he also said that those black triangles could be using the cloaking technology as well. So, yeah. So I guess if you have things that are super tiny, like little slivers, you can hide them all over the place. And if they are little tiny slivers of stuff, how people, when they say, I have this alien object in my body from when I got abducted.
Yeah.
They show those a lot of times as being little slivers, little tiny pieces of rice and little specks and dots and balls and things.
Yeah. And I've seen some, and it's funny because they reminded me of like certain birth control and chemotherapy implants. And
maybe that's how it started.
Yeah. Maybe that was the inspiration for those implants.
Maybe somebody found one and it's like, oh, when there's this, hey.
Yeah.
We could reverse engineer this and implant this in your arm. But of course, since it's not alien, it's real big. It's like putting a big fat piece of rice in your arm or something, big uncomfortable thing. Yeah. Where they say, hey, watch out, this could move. And if you think that your little implant has moved, you should go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So they could find it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But that would be something. That's like a layer to the whole alien thing. See, that's more exciting than we're seeing all the drones out there, and most of them are military.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what can get you. This is X-Files alien stuff right here. Like the black goo. Remember, that was in our last podcast. We talked about that up at like Lake Michigan or Lake Superior. One of them, the ships came in and their rudder had this black goo coming out of it.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, hey, it's black goo stuff. It's biological. And my first thought was, if I had the theme song, I was going to play X-Files. But if you do that, you're instantly demonetized and possibly. But yeah, Like that's reminiscent of X-Files, the black goo. How they went to the Arctic to find the black goo. And that little military base allegedly have all these like weird creatures there.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it. So, excuse me.
Excuse.
It's like I'm having a hard time breathing today. My nose is all weird.
Allergies.
Got these little slivers of metal. I keep blowing my nose. It turns to dust.
Shut up.
And it jumps back up my nose again. Random peanuts falling out of the sky and hit me in the head.
Okay. You're going to expound upon that?
Nope, that's part of the mystery and allure of the CreepGeeks Podcast. But I mean, it is kind of weird, you know? The whole slivers of things. 13 or trillions of weird objects on the planet. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So speaking of really weird, this is some stuff that I thought was actually pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. What, you're over there taking a nap? You
No.
want to talk about radioactive wasps that are found in the place where they used to make nuclear bombs?
So I got really interested by the headline, but the more I read in, I was like,
This is just kind of boring.
Well, not necessarily. These radioactive wasps, their nest was found at a site where the U.S. once made nuclear bombs. The nest at the site in South Carolina has a radiation level 10 times what is allowed by federal regulations. But it does not present a danger, according to the officials.
Well, I mean, how many of these wasps do you have to eat before you give yourself some kind of nuclear stuff?
And I don't think they're going to allow anybody to go out there and pull like a Spider-Man, like a Peter Parker. Just, going to get bit by a wasp.
Well, I did watch a guy on TikTok set up a rocket and a tube pointed at this big old hornet's nest inside his house, and he shot it with like some big old firework. And it dead shot because it was only like a foot away, and it exploded, right? And he's running off giggling. All the wasps are gone. I'm thinking, that's probably the best way to set your house on fire. Because it was in a corner where the soffit comes out, and that's not very, he blows this thing. I'm like, dude.
My thing is, though, I'm still trying to figure out how close. But workers at a site in South Carolina that once made key parts for nuclear bombs in the U.S. have found a radioactive wasp nest, but officials are assuring there is no danger to anyone. Employees who routinely check radiation levels at the Savannah River site near Aiken found a wasp nest on July 3rd on a post near tanks where nuclear waste was being stored.
See, that should scare you.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
So if the wasps are just hanging out, how are they becoming that radiated? Is the tanks that radioactive? Is it just leaking some radioactive goo?
The nest is giving off a radiation level 10 times what is allowed by federal regulations. Workers sprayed the nest with insect killer, removed it, and disposed of it as radioactive waste. No wasps were found, officials claim.
Okay. Now, we all know that's a lie. Have you ever tried to remove a wasp nest? You think you got them all, you're scared them all away or whatever. There's always one that comes up out of nowhere and scares you.
At least, yeah. But so there's no leak from the waste tanks, and the nest was most likely radioactive through what it called on-site legacy radioactive contamination.
Oh, so old school nuclear waste has been leaking. Weapon used to store it in Ziploc bags.
They're
instead
claiming
of barrels and stuff.
The residual radioactivity is because of it being left behind from when the site was fully operational. Now...
Hey, did you throw away that nuclear waste? Yeah, man, we're good. As they're driving off in a truck, right?
Now, there's a watchdog group, kind of like river keepers and stuff. This is Savannah River Site Watch. They're claiming that the report, at best, is incomplete since it doesn't detail where the contamination came from, how the wasps may have encountered it, and the possibility there could be another radioactive nest if there is a leak somewhere. Knowing the type of wasp nest could also be critical because some wasps make nests out of dirt and mud, and others use different material which could pinpoint where the contamination came from. So, some wasps are like mud daubers.
Yeah.
So they could have been getting the mud from around the nuclear waste disposal area. Some wasps chew wood like bees. And
if there's one radioactive wasp nest
Yeah.
I would treat it as every wasp nest they ever come across as radioactive.
But this would, if we could at least get details on what type of wasp, as well as what type of nest, we can trace where this leaking material or possibly higher than usual radiated material came from. Like, did it come from the back of this area? Did it come from where the stuff gets poured out? You know,
I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of federal organization went and got all those wasps so they could do some research on them and say, hey, are they more angry than usual? Because they're radioactive wasps. Does it even affect wasps, that kind of thing? You know, because all wasps are a-holes. So it's pretty scary. Yeah, I like to quote, I'm mad as a hornet that SRS didn't explain where the radioactive waste came from.
Yeah.
You know, and that's that guy Clemens from the thing. So 165 million gallons of liquid nuclear waste, which was through evaporation. So they took the waste and evaporated. It had been reduced down to about 34 million gallons of concentrated waste. Right? And there's still 43 underground tanks in use. And 8 of those tanks have been closed. Why would they close the tank? It's not safe anymore.
Yeah.
So if a wasp nest can be radioactive at that site, I wouldn't be surprised if there's other radioactive things. So kind of crazy. Yeah, because South Carolina used to make nuclear weapon stuff, and then Tennessee had the whole thing for enriching uranium, and all of that stuff was all put together. And the next thing you know, you're in New Mexico, White Sands, standing on the site where they dropped the first sort of atomic bomb there. Because I'm not sure if they still do. Yeah. They used to open it up, the Trinity site, where we went, had a great time.
Yeah.
So, overall, if you do decide to go out there, and they do tours, because they used to do it twice a year, once on the anniversary of the atomic bomb drop at White Sands, and then another time in October when it's not 1,000 degrees, you're going on to a federal, a government installation, right? Mm-hmm. Don't bring weed or anything like that, because it may be legal in your town, but it ain't legal in a government installation, that's for sure. I noticed that when we went riding by. That's where, we got questioned and all that stuff and kind of cruised in there, because you can drive your car from the gate to the place and then back, and that's it.
Yeah.
They had these amnesty barrels where you could throw away contraband.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's kind of crazy, right? Radioactive wasps. So I wonder if there's an organization that investigates that stuff. I mean, because Chernobyl's got the radioactive dogs and other critters, and
the river keeper type river watch people, they're a non-profit, kind of like the ones we have around here, and they regularly monitor areas that are either hot spots or have had some sort of bad stuff happen to them. Like we have here in our area, we have a Lake James, and we have Catawba River Keepers, and they're out there every single week testing water post-Helene.
There's a bunch that's just worried about DuPont, Duke Power, and all that stuff.
There's ones in Swannanoa because of the damage that happened in Swannanoa right there, where there was chemicals and stuff, So, yeah.
Radioactive wasps.
Yeah.
It's just great. So on the other side of that, evidently nuclear waste is powering a new cancer cure, or a possible cancer cure.
Okay.
Radioactive wasp, new cancer cure. Maybe nuclear waste and nicotine's not that bad. Right? But this kind of ties into, we went out to White Sands and we had the opportunity, right, to be there, Trinity site. It was great.
Yeah.
We went in October when it wasn't so hot, because it was in April. This is the first time we did it. It was like 1,000,000 degrees. Also happens to be, or at the time was the first weekend of Balloon Fiesta. So these two things in New Mexico are worth the trip to go out there.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of items at the Trinity site, that were radiated and all that stuff. But they also had a lot of information, and they had to enrich uranium, and they had these women that were working in these rooms, and every time a light went off, they'd have to press this button. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Because they didn't have computers, right? So they had to make sure certain things happened at certain times in order to enrich the uranium to the point where it was, I guess, for safe to use. You know, because if you do it wrong, uranium is not good enough or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was at Oak Ridge National Laboratory.
Yeah.
In Tennessee. And they had a picture, and it looked like the old school pictures you see in the 50s or whatever, where you have a bunch of women sitting at a desk, like the telephone operators, where they would, unplug and plug into another thing and to connect your call before automatic trunking happened.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same place. So Oak Ridge National Laboratory have discovered a groundbreaking medical use for radioactive waste. And this is from the nuclear weapons program. So this is good. This is quality nuclear waste, right?
Yeah.
So they take this uranium-233 that they've been stockpiling since the Manhattan Project, which is the project to build an atomic bomb, right?
Yeah.
And they get this rare byproduct called thorium-229. And this isotope produces this actinium-225, which is a key ingredient in targeted alpha therapy, which is an advanced cancer treatment that delivers these alpha particles directly to tumors. And why is that important?
Right.
It'd be like, I can pinpoint where this treatment needs to be instead of, okay, so you have a melanoma cancer on your back. Let me go ahead and deliver radiation to cover your entire back. Which is bad because that stuff destroys everything. So it's not just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'd be better to be precise and have precision when you're dealing with using chemotherapy or radiation therapy and just hitting the tumor and not destroying everything else around it.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of sending a missile and destroying a building instead of destroying a neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they do that, it minimizes damages to healthy tissue, and it has a strong potential in treating cancers like lymphoma, prostate, breast. I guess some of the the common cancers, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Now the thing is that thorium-29 is really limited, and only about 45 grams exist.
Oh.
Which is still enough to treat hundreds of patients each year, because of the small amount that's required. So 45 grams is not a lot.
Yeah.
But it's good enough to can treat hundreds. I think that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So the U.S. Department of Energy is aiming to eliminate the entire uranium-233 inventory at Oak Ridge National Labs, and they're trying to find new ways to develop new methods to produce this thorium-229, since the isotope only comes from uranium-233, and they're trying to find these alternate methods to, once this supply is gone, it's gone.
Okay.
Because they've been working on this, and the stuff has been stockpiled since late 30s.
Yeah.
Or was late 30s, late 40s. I can't remember when the Manhattan Project actually sort of started enriching uranium. They told us when we went, because I was listening to the volunteers talk. It was pretty neat. So, yeah, they want to try to find another way to make it. And so another approach to trying to figure out something to use is a particle accelerator called the cyclotron. Mm-hmm. And they're going to fire protons at radium-226 or thorium-232 to produce a desired isotope. And these techniques are basically a different way to produce the material needed for the cancer treatment without relying on legacy nuclear bomb-making substances.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's like, it makes you wonder, well, don't you have like a bunch of retired nuclear missiles laying around? You got somebody in there with a teaspoon scooping out some warhead, trying to, so you could break it down and get some more thorium-229, get this whole actinium-225 isotope. I'm all for it, man. I mean, granted, you're not really doing anything to save the planet or anything. You're just saving people, which if you could do that and have precision pinpoint accuracy to kill a tumor versus destroying everything around it, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Because that can mean the difference between just killing a tumor or having a double mastectomy if you're a woman with breast cancer.
Or even chemotherapy in the process that puts your body through is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't experienced that, but it's never been depicted as being a pleasurable or like, oh, that wasn't so bad kind of experience. You know what I mean? So there you go. Nuclear waste saves lives. It's kind of interesting though.
Yeah.
But there was also some things I was reading that nicotine can kill tumors too. I'm not talking about like, you know, smoking a cigarette and killing stuff. It's like the nicotine itself, derived from plants, has all sorts of crazy medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the kind of thing you don't want to do too much research on because then your computer will tell on you. You know, next thing you know, you're on some kind of list.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after that, what are you going to do? So in tying in with all the nuclear stuff we just talked about, I've seen this, and I have a question. Every living human body radiates an invisible glow.
Oh.
Now, what do you think that is when you hear that?
An aura?
Yeah, me too. I'm like, okay, right? But evidently, this is news. And maybe it's different. Maybe they're saying it's different. I don't know, but it says like, hold on a second. So if every living being radiates an invisible glow, which is kind of like, okay, because we do know that every living being on Earth, at least, emanates a magnetic field. What are they talking about? And so this came from anomalous.com.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the first time I've actually pronounced the name of this website correctly.
Yeah.
So they've done a recent study at the University of Calgary, and they're looking into this unusual phenomenon called biophoton.
Okay.
This is what I thought was pretty interesting. So they did an experiment, and they took mice, right, and leaves from plants so they can provide some sort of physical evidence that living organisms can emit light that disappears after they die. And so they studied, you know, after the study was done, they published this results in the Journal of Physical Chemistry Letters, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not easy to sort of get an idea of how electromagnetic radiation and paranormal phenomenon and auras and stuff sort of ties together. But what they're saying is that, and this is from Dan Oblak, they've managed to detect ultra-weak photon emissions, UPE, from living organism and plants, which confirms the existence of this phenomenon. So they're not saying it's paranormal and auras, but they are saying that it does produce some kind of light, and it's biologically produced, so they're calling it a biophoton. To me, it's like saying, we're not saying that auras really do exist, but they do exist. And here's a scientific, because we can't say that because we're scientists, so we're going to say it's biophotons. It's like biophotons.
Okay.
Yeah. So we know that biological stuff can produce light. Like look at plankton in general. You got like plankton, you got dragonflies, lightning bugs.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. But this is different. It's a different type of, it's not necessarily bioluminescence, and it's more of a chemiluminescence, which is a chemical created thing.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is that over the past decades, spontaneous emissions of light waves in the range of 200 to 1,000 nanometers has been recorded in various living cells. Everything from like cow heart tissue to bacterial colonies. And so they're trying to figure out what it is, and they said that one possible source of the radiation, the light that you see, is reactive oxygen species, which are formed in the cells. That creates a high amount of temperatures, toxins, and nutrition. So in other words, this little thing just kind of heating up and putting the light out.
Heat.
It's chemical reaction.
Okay.
Because you can have a reaction not necessarily based or derived from heat, like a chemical process. So,
but one of the processes that happens from a chemical reaction is light, and typically light has some sort of heat.
Not always.
Okay.
You can have luminescence in the anyway. This is way beyond what we can speculate all you want.
Luminescence is slightly different from light. So.
Luminescence. Okay. Listen. Mm-hmm. If you take the presence of hydrogen peroxide, fats, and proteins, and you can alter them, you can cause these electrons to emit photons, right, as they return to the original positions. So they're trying to figure out, the study, right? It's like, okay, then we have the possibility of maybe having some non-invasive health monitoring in humans and animals. In other words, it could read your light. Mm-hmm. Figure out if something wrong with you, like the cat litter stuff. Except the cat litter, a cat pees in it, and then it turns its color, tell you what's wrong with it. And this way, they just be able to read the light. Who else reads light? I can see your aura, man. And with the colors, it's like, okay. And so here's where it gets kind of dark. They used electron multiplying chambers to compare the radiation of living and dead mice. So 4 mice were placed in a dark box and photographed for an hour before and after euthanasia while maintaining their body temperature. So the results were that the number of emitted photons significantly decreased after death, and similar experiments were conducted with the leaves of like a watercress and umbrella tree. So the researchers noted that the damaged area of the leaves glowed brighter than the undamaged ones, indicating a link between the stress and reactive oxygen species, so these results could form the basis of future health diagnostic methods. And I'm thinking back to this magazine cover, I think, where it showed the outline of a hand with the blue aura around it, and it was missing a finger.
Oh.
Have you seen that?
No.
We could probably find it. But anyway, it's missing a finger, and you could see at the end of where the finger is missing, it's red. And then where the finger would be, the continuation of the missing part of the finger was very faintly.
Okay.
And it's like, if this is not aura, I mean, to me, this is auras.
Yeah.
Or something like auras, but if they're trying to build like health monitoring systems that could read your light and figure out, I mean, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's like Star Trek stuff.
Yeah.
You got your little flashlight looking deal over the body, and and it shows you a different color, and
Yeah.
That's not the sound that it actually makes. That was just, I know it sounded to me like I was, I don't want no people to think we're copywriting. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, so you should continue with the next thing. I just closed out all my notes, so now I got to figure out. I do
Where
that sometimes.
are we
I get
at so
excited.
far?
You don't even know. We're like, we're down towards the bottom.
Okay. Well, that's something new.
Nice.
Basically, been reading a lot of wildlife news.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
There's been some good ones recently, but this one, oh wow! Indian infant bites cobra snake to death.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I was originally going to make it like Chuck Norris.
Okay.
But who else was an infant, fought the snakes, and won? You can't cheat. Look, wait, let me get my cheating device.
Is it Greek mythology?
I mean, it could be. Here, let me help you spell it. Hercules.
Yeah.
Or Heracles. So, what do you think of that?
I think that's weird.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, some people call it Hercules, some people call it Heracles.
Yeah, Hercules strangled the serpents.
Well, this kid bit a cobra to death.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close.
Yeah, that's true.
So this infant bites cobra snake to death. So in India, this infant avoided what could have been tragic when he shockingly bit a cobra snake to death. You keep putting like cobra snake.
Yeah.
Right. So when the venomous creature approached him, this dude just decided that's it and took him out. During a brief moment when he was left unsupervised, the one-year-old boy, I almost said one-eyed boy. His name is Govinda. You should see if Govinda translates to Hercules. Suddenly found himself with a cobra snake wrapped around his hands. Unfortunately for the tot, he was too young to fear the deadly creature and instead turned it into a chew toy.
Protector of cows.
What, really?
Yeah.
All right. So when we saw the snake in the child's hand, everyone rushed towards him, the grandmother recalled. But in the meantime, he had already bit the snake, killing it on the spot.
Oh, also Krishna. So Govinda was another name for Krishna. So
yeah.
Now
here's the thing, though.
He tried to snack on it.
Well, he's teething. I mean, I had to replace a remote control for the TV because that thing got chewed to pieces. So I took it to a place that used to be called Circuit City, right? The magical place called Circuit City.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man, this is back when VCRs cost like $379. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, something's wrong with it. And the dude said, oh, yeah? Okay. And he unscrewed it and poured drool out of it. And I was like, so is this covered under warranty? He's like, no. And I was like, man. I said, hey, just out of curiosity, every day. I see this every day. I'm like, okay. So I had to buy another $39 remote control, which back then in the 80s money, like in the late 90s, well, it was like early 90s. Early 90s money was a lot of money.
It was.
So, yeah, this kid, he ingested some of the venom.
That's kind of
That's serious business. He's chewing through it. So not only is this kid killing snakes because he's trying to cut teeth, right? Yeah. Protector of cows, he's probably going to have some sort of venom. I don't even know what do you call it?
Immunity to venom.
No, it's not immunity necessarily, where you build up a resistance to it. What do you call that?
Immunity.
No, we have a strength towards it. Immunity just means it doesn't affect you, but this is where you build this tolerance up to where it can't do anything for you necessarily as far as you get bit again. It's a built tolerance. Yeah. Like, for example, if you had Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson in a place and they were smoking and you had some random dude come off the street, you know, Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson could probably smoke that guy into a coma. Maybe you're right. Not immunity, it's a tolerance that you build up.
Resistance.
Yeah, close enough.
Invulnerable, impervious.
Stop using the computer. I'll figure it out.
Innate immunity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anywho, yeah, so this kid got some of the venom, which caused him to faint on the spot.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they're sure he got venom.
Yeah, because the dose was the poison was relatively low, and the youngster was rushed to the hospital for treatment. So he'll likely come out of the incident unscathed, with a fearsome reputation that any other cobra snakes would be foolish enough to cross his path. It's like, I am a cow protector, snake killer. So,
I mean, what if this kid grows up and, you know, turns into like a modern day like Hercules?
What if they test his blood one day and go, hey man, your blood makes you impervious to concentrations of venom. And if we give this other kid some of your blood, they too will be impervious. You know what I mean? So he creates some sort of vaccine. So you're like, oh, I've been bit by a cobra. And they just give you a shot of Govinda's blood and you're fine. And what if later on Govinda's blood and the vaccine derivative from his blood and the research is what helps keep you human when you get attacked by zombies? No turning. You don't turn into a zombie.
Okay.
That's kind of nuts though, man. I mean, as a parent, giant snake in the bed, your kid's eating it. Kids are crazy.
Yeah.
He bit it to death. So, yeah, Hercules or Chuck Norris. It reminds me of the Chuck Norris joke where he said he got he was somewhere and he got bit by a cobra, a highly venomous cobra. This is after 3 days of pain and suffering. The cobra died.
Yeah.
Because he bit Chuck Norris. So that's why I put infant Chuck Norris. So in the show notes, because all the show notes that we have is available. You go to CreepGeeks.com and look for every episode that we have published so far. So I thought you'd like this, since you
love it.
You love eating these guys. So.
I do not love eating them. I've sworn them off because they pass the sentience tests. So, but this article is called "Why Octopuses Are Building Small Cities Off the Coast of Australia." So divers have found octopi building structures out of shells, socializing with neighbors. And they even have a map of Octlantis, which is now the second settlement of gloomy octopi found off the coast of Australia. About 10 to 15 octopuses live here in mounds of shells that have been constructed over generations. That's cool. And it looks like a little mini, like if you were to plot out or do some really basic, I don't know, like house planning, they have like a little map and it shows where the octopi live. And it shows like which houses are empty and which are full. But the captions are pretty awesome too. Like, one octopus evicts another from its den. This is pretty common in Octopuses, and often the evicted tenant finds another home nearby. And then they show them fighting to keep their homes. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, throwing shells at each other and shooting sand and
yeah.
You know, so they're fighting, having the HOA disputes.
Yeah, and see, most species of octopi are known to be solitary animals, and the only time they do come together is during breeding or mating season, and even that's not cool. They fight with each other during that time. But in this case, divers found a small group of them in 2009 living together in burrows built around a piece of discarded metal, and they called it Octopuses. And at the time, the scientists believed it was a rarity, perhaps caused by humans meddling in the environment. But in 2016, divers found another community of octopi living in dens built from discarded shells. And this time, there was no hunk of metal that had disturbed the natural environment.
Yeah.
They're suspecting the octopi have been building group habitats for a while now. So that's really cool. This new place, Alaska Pacific University marine biologist David Scheel and his colleagues described the new discovery in a journal, Marine and Freshwater Behavior and Physiology. They called Octopuses, and over several months of observation, they determined that the settlement is made up of roughly 10 to 15 gloomy octopuses, which is actually a real name. And that's Octopus tetricus. So, yeah. It's hardly a metropolis, though, as far as Octopuses is concerned. It's more like a tiny village of dens clustered around rocks, and these have been built up over several generations. So they've only lived there for about 3 or so years, and each generation is relatively short.
Well, that's because octopi, they don't live that long.
Yeah, it kind of makes me sad. So, but yeah, they've noticed them interacting like neighbors, albeit like fighty neighbors. They've seen at least 3 pairs of neighbors mate, and then there were also a few near-miss attempted matings, which has got to be awkward. Imagine living next to somebody and they shot you down, and you got to live next to them.
Yeah. Well, that's probably where they get the fights, where they evict somebody else. Like, you live over there, man.
Yeah, and see, it's also got to be awkward because their reproductive systems are optimized for long-distance fertilization between solitary animals. So typically,
they're supposed to, get it and leave.
Yeah, and the male typically just sends his data out across the waters, and then the female somehow finds that.
We don't need a description of,
So the fact that they see each other the next day has got to be weird.
Yeah, so that's a little uncomfortable, I'm sure.
So, but they're also very violent when they evict their neighbors.
They're fighting. They don't care.
Yeah,
throwing stuff at each other.
Yeah, in one case, the evicting octopus grabbed its victim and just yanked him out of his burrow.
Yeah.
And then they fought in the front yard.
Pretty much. It reminds me of when they're sitting here and we talked about in the podcast where this octopus been seen punching fish.
Yeah.
Right? So he tries to recruit the fish.
Yeah.
Send him on a mission so that he brings other fish over so he can eat.
Yeah.
And then when the fish fails and comes back to him like, hey, did I do good? He just punches him, right? So I'm like, man, octopus are mean.
Well, these front yard fights result in sharks lingering around watching the fights for what can be hours.
Because they're like, what are they doing?
And
who can I eat?
And then basically the loser runs the risk of being the perfect prey.
Yeah. So speaking of loser,
yeah.
Octopus attacks this boy.
Wow.
Now, the boy is only 6, so he's not really a loser, but here's what happened. Mm-hmm. So this octopus attacks his 6-year-old boy at this aquarium and then makes eye contact with him from the tank. Like, yeah, see what I said? So there's this aquarium in Texas where you can go and kind of interact with them, right? And they go and pet the octopus or whatever. So this octopus wrapped himself around this boy at the aquarium. Mm-hmm. And the kid's name is Leo. He was ambushed by the creature on July 14th at the San Antonio Aquarium, where you're allowed to interact with various animals. This octopus is one of them.
Yeah.
So the mom and the boy were there, and she kind of panicked because this octopus suddenly latched on to Leo. Mm-hmm. Right? It suctioned onto him. So I tried to help get him down and away from the glass. And so they finally, they were yelling for help, and they finally got somebody to help him free him. So when the employee eventually arrived, he said, "Oh, she's super playful today." Right?
Oh my goodness!
So the worker had to call for backup and got more staffers to help pry the creature off this kid. And so once the kid was freed, right?
Yeah.
The octopus just sat there and eyeballed the boy the whole time, like showing him what was up. So for some reason, he had bruises from his wrist to his armpit because of the whole suction thing that was going on. So he was very relaxed about the whole thing. So I was relaxed, and because he knows so much about animals and octopuses. So the kid was pretty right. So when they returned to the tank 2 hours later, Taryn said the octopus made eye contact with her son, swam over to him, and turned white.
Oh.
Like, hey, look at me.
What does white mean?
I don't know. Does it mean that he's apologizing or she's apologizing and giving up or wants truce?
Yeah.
Or is it like, yeah, I know you see me now kind of a thing?
Here's if you look for the headlines, though, because I was trying to find what you were talking about, and it's just the way some websites are reporting it, it's borderline Karen, because it's like, angry mom blasts the wild giant octopus from TikTok. And I'm like, so she went on TikTok and put an octopus on blast. Does she realize the octopus doesn't have a TikTok account?
Yeah.
Just the way it was worded.
Well, she filed a complaint with the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
I'm about to become a menace. Okay.
It's like, I mean, this is what happens. You go into a place where you can interact with these animals. Things are going to happen. What happens if she took the kid, Leo, to a place where you could pet goats and the goat headbutted him?
It's a touch tank.
Yeah. So, this octopus incident is just probably the latest in a series of controversies at the San Antonio Aquarium. So, like in 2018, they had surveillance tape of basically 3 people stealing a horn shark.
In broad daylight.
Yeah, they just grabbed it and took off.
Oh, my gosh.
So, the suspects disguised the female sharks as a baby. The female shark that they took and put it in a stroller.
That is ugly baby.
It was not returned to the aquarium until 2 days later.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, it said in days following the theft, the aquarium said that it would not shut down the touch pools. So I think with this lady and her son and the whole incident that they're not going to shut this down.
No, they better not.
Yeah, I mean, stuff happens, whatever, but yeah.
And they even have video of the kid basically sticking his...
Well, that's what they say, like one of the comments, right, from Sprout Clock Blade.
Okay.
Whatever that means. He was given to the octopus from the photo. She's almost dunking him in the tank.
Oh. See, I don't have that photo. I just have a photo of the kid. Well,
I know, but this is what they're saying. It's like,
so
the octopus is in the tank where, she should be, and your spawn should be on the other side, teaching it to behave, teaching them how to behave around animals. So the idea here is going, hey, well, she helped him up to get into to get grab a hold of this octopus and play with it. And the octopus is like, we can touch hands, but now you're in my yard.
Yeah.
And you just told me in an article they're out there fighting in the front yards. Right? So this one's like, hey man, we can tentacle to hand and touch or whatever, but you're in my territory now.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's just picking up the octopus's tentacles and just going,
So whose fault is this?
The animal is just being an animal.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Now you do have animals that are mean. Right.
Yeah.
And you can go to any petting zoo and there's always the one mean goat that picks somebody and that's it. And starts blasting people. And you kind of sock them a little bit and show them what's up so they back off.
Or the aggressive seagull. Yeah. Or, or the snake that doesn't take no for an answer.
Right.
And
Or the kid at the bumper car place that picks the one man and blasts him continually until he gives up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know who that was.
Yeah. So.
She doesn't listen to the podcast. She might. She might like months later. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at this as being, hey, did the kid get what he deserved? Maybe. But at the same time, is it the kid's fault? Or did the mom go, no, that's you. Okay, just a little bit. No, she's like, here, let me hoist you up.
Yeah.
Get you in here.
I mean, there's been tragedies in the past decade where like somebody's had a toddler that's fallen in like gorilla enclosure and that didn't turn out good.
Yeah.
Well,
there's also been where toddler jumped it or fell in the enclosure and it was good because the gorilla's saving the baby kind of thing. And
see, those are far more terrifying to me than this because I'm looking at the kid's bruises now, and yes, while they do hurt, they don't appear life-threatening.
No, it's just a lesson.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I got to side with the octopus on this one.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too. I'm thinking the mom is,
Now, do I think a full-size octopus of that type should be in the petting zoo area or, touch tank area? No.
Well, I think it's probably fine because it's big enough to be peaceful and all that stuff. I think once you get in there and start messing around, you F around, you find out, right?
Okay.
So I don't think the mom helped the situation at all.
No.
Because there's a picture of the kid standing there and he's too short to reach up over and, pet the octopus. And I did see some video and the octopus will put his little tentacle up there and you can touch it.
Yeah.
Like up the side of the glass.
Yeah.
Hey, touch it. But she picked him up and almost put him in the tank.
Yeah.
So the octopus is like, no.
No. This is mine.
Not allowed.
Yeah.
And then I just think it's funny that when he come back as they were leaving, that octopus came right up and was eyeballing him like, see, you want some more of this? I'm white hot mad.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But
yeah.
I think that's kind of.
Whole mood.
Yeah. You want some of this? I dare you to come back, right?
Yeah.
Because we all know octopus are from another planet, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're going to take a second and go ahead and wrap up the podcast. We've been talking for 1 hour and 22 minutes, and you get absolutely the most bang for your buck with the CreepGeeks Podcast. It costs you absolutely nothing to listen. If you do like to rate things, you should go ahead and rate us. We take only the finest 3 to 5 star reviews on wherever you're listening to the podcast. We do appreciate it.
And if you'd like to call the show, phone number's in the show notes, but that phone number's 575-208-4025.
Yeah. So you can check us out on Facebook and basically anywhere and just look for CreepGeeks. So we do appreciate you taking the time to listen, and we'll see you in the next podcast. So see you later. Take it easy. Bye, Sickle.
Bye.